guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Catherine with a K, and today's video, I must admit, it's going to be a little tough for me. Today I want to talk about mental health, particularly my mental health, and I want to put a disclaimer out there. I am not a professional in mental health. I am not a mental health nurse. I am not a mental health doctor. Everything I will talk to you about today is from my experience, and at the end I will probably give some advice to people who may be suffering with their mental health, or maybe thinking they've got some problems. That is just coming from my experiences and how I've learnt to deal with it. So, disclaimer out of the way, and I might get a little teary during this video because it is a bit of a tough subject for me. So I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety when I was 26, and I was put on medication. But looking back, I know that my problems started from when I was very, very young. See, throughout primary school I'd always struggled with school, particularly things like reading and writing, maths. The only things that I really enjoyed are things like drama, because I got to be very creative and very expressive. And I used to love being in plays, and I got a lot of credit for that. And history as well, because I found it so fascinating. I really, really enjoyed it. So they were the lessons that I would put my hand up and give an answer or do extra reading about, because I just found it so enjoyable. But things like English, science, maths, I hated. I hated it so much. I just hated school in general. And I was bullied quite badly because of that, because I wasn't doing as well as the other children, and the fact that I was overweight even as a child was another big issue. But I mean, kids can be cruel. They do pick on you for absolutely anything. They find a target and they just go for it. Some little kids can be little nasty things. Not all of them. I do love children, and one day I might have children, but unfortunately some kids are just like that, and that's just part of life. But what really got me were the teachers. They were no better. They could be just as nasty bullies as the children. I did have some good ones. I did have a couple of nice teachers. But I had a lot that did not like me because I wasn't in the top set and I wasn't striving. And I was unfortunately put in bottom sets with no extra help to catch up with the other students. When I was 20, I got diagnosed with dyslexia, which made a whole lot of sense. But when I was at school, I was told that I wouldn't go to college, I wouldn't go to uni, I wouldn't really be able to do much career-wise because of how I am. And I got told that by many different people, and I think as a child, if an adult's telling you this, and a couple of adults, it must be true. This is why you have to be very careful what you tell children. I was very angry. I used to pray every day that the school would burn down to the ground so I didn't have to enter it. Every time I entered that school I was filled with dread, anxiety and absolute bitterness. I had such a difficult time, and I think that's what started everything. And I think it shattered my self-esteem and my self-worth, because at times I felt like I didn't deserve to have their teaching because I wasn't as good as the other students who was doing really, really well. And that really hit me very hard. And it was the same in high school. Same problems, nothing changed. I was put in lower sets for my GCSEs, and I didn't get the support I needed to at least be able to manage to get a decent grade. I left school with 2 GCSEs in drama and, weirdly, religious studies. I don't know how, but hey, I take anything I can. So that was that. I got diagnosed when I was 20, and I was very fortunate. I retook my GCSEs when I was 19, 20, and I did manage to get to university. I did 2 years of advanced nursing diploma, and then in my 3rd year I transferred to a degree level. I did get a little extra support in my academics, but not so much in my practical. But I did manage to get my degree, and that was fantastic. I had my graduation was one of the best days of my life. I got to wear the gown, I got to wear the hat, I got to meet Patrick Stewart. He is one of my most favourite actors, and he's a Yorkshireman. So you can't go wrong, you cannot go wrong, and that was one of the best days of my life. But unfortunately, because of how I was mentally, everything overshadowed that. I still wasn't good enough. And during my first nursing job, I wasn't given the right support I needed, particularly for any other qualified nurse, because that's very difficult. Even if you have the paper to say you're qualified, it's like learning to drive a car. You've got the licence, you've passed the test, but you don't learn until you really get out of the road and you have to do it yourself. And because I have extra needs, such as my dyslexia, my dyspraxia, and things went downhill. And again, I was questioning my self-worth. I kept saying to myself, I shouldn't be here, I should never have passed my degree. What the hell did I think I was doing? How could I ever have a normal life? And then I was in a relationship as well at that point. And sadly that relationship ended and I'd moved trust, and things were so overwhelming I decided to step back and to be a healthcare assistant, because the responsibilities are a little different and I felt like I could manage it more and I could. But that was such a huge blow. I felt like a failure. I felt like I'd let everybody down who supported me. I felt rotten. And then after that breakup, I felt like I wasn't worthy of that kind of love. I knew that I had love from my parents and my family, and I loved them back. But not that quite intimate love that you get from a partner. I thought perhaps I didn't deserve it, and I was never meant to have it. As I was turning 30, that was really, really difficult for me. A lot of my friends were in relationships and having children and being on their own. I was still living at home, and I thought, I don't have any of that. That's what I wanted when I was 21 when I'd hit 30. I think we all have a plan when we're young. Or by the time I hit this age, I want to be in this situation, and I wasn't, and I felt completely worthless. So turning 30 was extremely hard, and I couldn't really enjoy it as much as I wanted to enjoy it. When I was 31, I'd lost my grandmother as I was planning to move out to rent somewhere. And even though I'd moved out, which was one of my goals, I have two beautiful cats, Bella and Leo, I still didn't think that I'd achieved anything because of what other people had. Yes, I'd moved out, but I had nobody special in my life and I didn't have any children. So again, I didn't feel I had any value in me. I didn't have any self-worth. And it was really then that I'd had counselling before to help me with my problems, but it didn't really. It worked, it did help, but it wasn't the right kind of help for everything. I went to my doctor, they changed medication, and he said I needed to self-refer to Lee's mental health team, which I did. Unfortunately, I was on the waiting list for CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, for a year before I got any of that service. But during that time was when I met Paul. And he knew from the beginning that I had these problems, and he was amazing. He has been so supportive. Every time I have a bad day, he's there for me, and he accepts that, and he doesn't judge. He lets me talk, he lets me express my feelings, and he's been my rock. And the last 2 years with him has been some of the most amazing 2 years of my life, and I just feel so blessed that I have him in my life. And I couldn't thank him enough. And Paul, I know that you'll be watching this at some point, but thank you for just being you and just given me so much love and support and encouragement. Whenever I've been down, you've always been there to help get me up. You always know the right things to say, and I just love you, sort of all that, and I cannot wait to enjoy the next years that we have together. You are a very, very special man, and I love you so much. And I also want to thank my family as well, because they've been through it with me since I was very, very little without really even knowing it. They just accept that this is just a part of me. And they don't judge me. They don't pill shame me. So I really want to say a big thank you. Because without any of you, I wouldn't be here. I don't know where I'd be. I hope that you know that I love you very, very much. So I had 15 weeks of CBT with a professional, and that really did help. It helped me to, whenever I get anxious, to help curb it, so I can sleep better, so I can think differently about the situations that I'm in, and it really, really was a big help. And also, I am still on medication. I will be on medication for the rest of my life, which is fine, because the same medications are helping me with my other chronic problems. I suffer with chronic migraines, I suffer with chronic IBS, and when my mental health is such in a bad way, it affects the others, and the others affect it. So it's all just one big ball of crappiness that is, unfortunately, my health. But I mean, it could be worse. I know other people do suffer worse than me. And if I were to give anybody any advice, if they believe that they are experiencing problems, the first thing I would say to them is that you have to admit it to yourself first and foremost. It's important to express, something's not right, something's happening and I don't know what. I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. Do speak to your GP. I know it's been very difficult during lockdown and during this pandemic to see a medical professional regularly. I've, during COVID, because I've had COVID, I've had to speak to my doctor over the phone. I've had to have telephone consultations with him, and I was losing my hair as well, because a couple of months later, after I had COVID, so I had to speak to him over the phone. So get in contact with your GP practice and find out how you can access that, whether it is over the phone, if you are able to meet them in person. Please do explain to them what's happening, and then they can make the necessary referrals, or if they believe that medication would help, then please do. It will be a big help. And sometimes getting that diagnosis can have more weight, because I've spoken to people that say, and I've heard people say that, oh, people say I'm not feeling that, I'm just feeling a little bit sad, I'm not depressed, what do I have to be depressed about? Well, I'm sorry, but those people are not, if they're not medical, they are not medical people. If you can get a diagnosis, I think people will take you more seriously. Once I got mine, people started to take me a little bit more seriously. Another thing is, please talk to people. Talk to family members, talk to people in your household if there is. Talk to professionals. You can go online and you can find support groups to speak to, even if it's just typing what you're feeling. At least it helps. It's very therapeutic. And also there are a lot of websites. If the NHS has so much information about different mental health problems, they have recommendations of different charity websites that go through that specialises, say, in anxiety or bipolar. There's websites especially for men, for women. There's also reasons that mental health causes other problems, or other problems causes mental health issues, such as domestic violence, substance and alcohol abuse, addictions, things like that. There's so much material out there to go through. And it can be very overwhelming, but speak to your doctor about where's the best place to start. And then it gives you more information, and the more information you have, you probably feel better about it. And you probably feel that, yes, I'm not alone, that this is just a problem that people have. And it's called being human. Because that's what we all are. We all have our flaws. We all have problems. And it's important that we remember that. Another thing that I would say is, don't let anybody make you feel guilty for having these issues. I have been led to feel guilty about being depressed. I've had people say, oh, you're always so miserable. They don't know the half of it. And I've had people that have pill shamed me. Oh, you should be taking them, they're a load of old rubbish, they don't do naught for you. How would they know? They don't know that they're actually helping me. And so what if I'm on a pill, if I'm on tablets? To me, an antidepressant is no different than taking an antibiotic when you've got an infection, or taking painkillers when you're in pain, or taking medications for things like Parkinson's or diabetes. It is no different. We need to start treating mental health on the same level as we treat physical health. Just because it's in the mind and because you can't see it doesn't mean it's any less important than something you can see. It's the same with disabilities. Just because you don't see somebody in a wheelchair doesn't mean that they're not disabled and that they don't need to use that disabled parking area. So please get help if you feel that there's something not quite right. And it's okay to feel scared. It's okay that you feel alone until you learn more. You're not alone. I'm here. I've gone through it, and I feel like it's going to make me a stronger person. I don't feel like I'm done with my journey. I don't feel like I'll ever be done with my journey, but I know that I'm in a much better place now because of what I've gone through and the help that I've received. From family and friends to medical professionals to counselling to CBT therapists. I can actually look and see a future now. I see a future with Paul. I see a future with our home, with our cat. And if we have a family one day, I can see that. And I can see it's going to be good. I'll have setbacks, yes, but I have the tools in place now to make it better. And I do feel happy. And I know that one day I might be able to help someone. That's why I'm doing this video. You might watch it and think, actually, yeah, this has helped me see the light. It's helped me realise that, yes, maybe I have a problem, or I know somebody who has a problem, and I can use this and do something about it. And that is the goal. I didn't start my channel to be popular, to get 1 million views and to be paid lots of money from YouTube. I did it because it's something that I enjoy, and if I can help somebody, or if I can bring a smile to somebody's face, that's all the reward I need. I feel like I can pave the way, and hopefully one day when you feel better in yourself, you can do that as well. And I wish you all the luck in the world. And if you do want to get in contact via this channel, you can put a comment in the section below, and I look forward to hearing from you. So if you have, I won't say enjoyed, if you have liked this video and liked what I've said, then you know what to do. Put a like in that thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to watch more of my videos, and press that notification bell and it'll let you know whenever any other videos turn up. And I shall see you next week, and thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all the best luck in the world. If that aren't recorded, I will be very upset.